Hakeem Jeffries, the seasoned statesman known for his articulate speeches and commanding presence, stood at the podium with one clear mission: to challenge the young, rising political firebrand Karoline Leavitt during a nationally televised town hall. His team had prepared statistics, soundbites, and clever rebuttals. This wasn't just debate, it was war, a battle of ideology, generations, and public perception. Karoline Leavitt, 29, conservative, sharp-witted, and fearless, had made headlines for her bold views and unshakable demeanor. To many, she was the embodiment of Gen Z's political awakening. To others, a disruptor. And yet, what no one saw coming, was what she did next. The night of the debate arrived. Cameras rolled. Viewers across the US, Canada, and the UK tuned in with popcorn and passion. The moderator barely finished the introduction before Hakeem fired the first round. "Ms. Leavitt, you speak of unity, yet your rhetoric divides. Can you explain this contradiction?" Karoline smiled, not with smugness, but calm. "Congressman Jeffries," she replied, "unity doesn't mean silence. It means listening with the intent to understand, even if we disagree." The debate continued, sparring, point, counterpoint, respectful but charged. But then, the moment came. The unexpected twist. A video surfaced mid-broadcast, leaked anonymously, showing a young girl, maybe 12, being bullied outside a New Hampshire school. The girl's name was Maya, and Karoline had once mentored her through a local youth program. The clip ended with a young Karoline stepping in, shielding the girl, offering her coat, and walking her home in the snow. The moderator paused. "Ms. Leavitt, this just aired. Care to comment?" Karoline looked straight into the camera. Maya had no voice, just like many Americans feel today. "That day, I didn't step in because I was a politician. I stepped in because I was human." The room fell silent. Even Hakeem paused. But then, something no one expected happened. He took off his microphone, and stood up. "I came here to challenge your policies," Hakeem said, walking toward her. "But what I saw just now, that wasn't policy. That was character. And I believe America needs more of that." The clip of the handshake between Hakeem and Karoline went viral in hours. Not for political points, but because it struck a chord, one that transcended party lines. A few days later, Karoline received a letter in her office. Handwritten. It read, "I saw you on TV. I'm Maya's mom. I never had the words to thank you. That night, my daughter didn't just find safety. She found hope. You gave her that. Thank you for seeing her when no one else did." Karoline sat silently, her hands trembling. It wasn't the debate, the cameras, or the applause that mattered. It was this, a quiet letter, a mother's gratitude. In the months that followed, both Karoline and Hakeem began co-hosting bipartisan youth outreach programs. Together, no scripts, no spotlights, just real people helping real people. When asked in an interview what changed, Hakeem simply said, "She challenged me back, not with words, but with compassion. And I couldn't ignore that." Final message. We live in a world of noise. Debate, disagreement, division. But sometimes, a single act of quiet kindness speaks louder than 1,000 speeches. And in that silence, we remember who we are, not red, not blue, but human. Karoline Leavitt #Hakeem Jeffries inspiring story #ActiveKindness political unity #RealLeadership USA inspiration #Humanity First bipartisan hope debate to compassion viral moment heartfelt truth. Description. An unexpected debate between Hakeem Jeffries and Karoline Leavitt takes a heartfelt turn that inspires millions. A story of humanity, humility, and how a single act of kindness can change everything. #Karoline Leavitt Hakeem Jeffries #Humanity First inspiration. The unexpected alliance between Hakeem Jeffries and Karoline Leavitt made headlines for weeks, not because it was flashy or scandalous, but because it was real. News outlets didn't know how to frame it. Was it a political truce? A rebranding stunt? But those who saw it unfold knew better. It was simply a human moment in an inhuman age. Weeks after the televised debate, Karoline found herself in a modest community hall in Cleveland, sitting on a folding chair across from Hakeem. No camera crews, no advisors, just a room full of teenagers, black, white, immigrant, undocumented, skeptical, hopeful. A boy stood up. His name was Jamal. He asked a question that caught both politicians off guard. Why should we believe any of you? Silence. And then Karoline spoke, not like a politician, but like a sister. Because we've made the same mistakes. We've said the wrong things. Judged people too quickly. Forgotten names. Ignored pain. But we're here, not to promise you the world, just to listen, and maybe, learn something from you. Jamal didn't nod, but he didn't sit either. He reached into his backpack and handed her a sketch, a drawing of two hands, one light-skinned, one dark, holding up a cracked globe stitched back together. She was speechless. Next to her, Hakeem blinked fast, clearly holding something back. The impact of that tour, dubbed the Bridge Project, began to ripple through local communities. Not viral videos this time, but something better, change on the ground. A Republican congresswoman and a Democratic leader traveling together across battleground states, not to campaign, but to rebuild trust. They visited schools, churches, mosques, and even a rural truck stop in Iowa, where an elderly Vietnam vet stood up and said, "I served with men I didn't agree with. But we bled the same. Maybe y'all just reminded us of that." It was Maya's high school graduation. She stood tall on the stage in her red gown, scanning the crowd nervously. And there, in the third row, sat Karoline Leavitt, incognito in a denim jacket and baseball cap, quietly clapping, eyes glassy. Next to her, unexpectedly, sat Hakeem Jeffries, holding a small bouquet of yellow daisies. When Maya spotted them, she didn't cry. She smiled, the way someone does when they know they matter. And that's what it came down to. Not elections, not debates, not the next political poll, but the feeling, the deep, almost sacred knowing, that someone saw you, stood up for you, and walked alongside you when the world looked away. Karoline and Hakeem stood under a quiet tree after the ceremony. "She's going to change the world," Karoline whispered. "She already did," Hakeem replied, handing her the thank you card Maya had written. Inside, it said, "You taught me how to speak. You taught him how to listen. And together, you taught the world that even the deepest lines can be crossed with grace." In a time when division feels inevitable and hope feels rare, sometimes it only takes one step, one conversation, one unexpected alliance, to remind us that the heart of democracy isn't in shouting the loudest. It's in hearing the quietest voices. Feeling inspired? Share this story, start a conversation, and above all, don't wait for the world to change, be the one who changes it.